Hello friend, my name is Ethan and I'm here to help you deepen your meditation practice. I like to do this in one-on-one relationship. This is the best way for meditation to be taught. If you need help deepening your meditation practice, integrating it into all aspects of your life, please reach out to me or book a time or we can speak together one-on-one. I'd be happy to help. In this video, I want to talk about how to start meditating 1 hour every day. This is an enormously powerful baseline to achieve. If you're interested in achieving the deepest levels of human happiness, if you're interested in obtaining spiritual awakening, enlightenment, meditating for a whole hour is enormous. Not only will it help you move in those directions in the long term, but in the short term, it really speeds up your progress in meditation. And this particular meditation method I'll be outlining in this video is specifically designed to make meditating for a whole hour easy, or at least easier than it would be if you just were to start a timer for 60 minutes and go for it. While in the long run, that is where we want to move, it is good to be able to sit down, set a timer for 60 minutes, and then just drop in without any distractions, interruptions, nothing fancy going on. This is difficult to obtain. There's a lot of work, mental preparation, mental cultivation that needs to take place in order for something like that to become easy. So in this video, I want to talk about how to do this, how to move in that direction more easily, effectively. And this method is the way that I began meditating for a whole hour way back when I began meditating. And so I'd like to share that. The way that the system works is using a method called sequencing. So what this means is that for the first 10 minutes of the hour of the hour meditation period, what you'll do is you'll use a single technique. And then the next 10 minutes, you'll use a second but different meditation technique from the first 10 minutes. And then the third 10-minute period, you'll use a third meditation technique. So first 10 minutes, one, second 10 minutes, a second technique, third 10 minutes, another technique. And then once the 30 minutes have passed, all you do is just repeat that cycle one more time. Now, before I get into what techniques I would recommend that you use in this method, I want to talk a little bit about why we would meditate like this at all. What's actually going on? Why is this more effective than setting a timer down for 60 minutes and going for it for beginners? And even for advanced practitioners, this is a perfectly valid way to practice. A couple of things are going on. One is that doing this sequencing technique integrates many instances of positive feedback. It creates a lot of positive feedback loops because each time you complete a 10-minute cycle, you've accomplished something. So you're able to track like, okay, I just did the first 10 minutes. There's a bit of dopamine that gets released. I did the second 10 minutes. You're like seeing progress take place step by step, little by little, as you're going towards the 60 seconds. Creating positive feedback loops is how you create sustainable long-term meditation practice, regardless of if you're doing a whole hour every day or just doing 5 minutes. If the practice isn't creating positive outcomes, we won't continue. It's that simple. If the practice doesn't feel enjoyable in some way, shape, or form while we are practicing, it's not sustainable and we won't continue. So by introducing this sequencing method, we're creating positive feedback loops. The other thing that's taking place is because we are using different techniques, 3 in this case, and then repeating them, because we're using different techniques, we're actually training different parts of the mind simultaneously in one sit. And while it is the case that just sticking to one technique may lead into a deeper development of that particular style of practice, it is the case that we can simultaneously train multiple mental faculties, skills, states of mind, etc. And not only are we training multiple skill sets simultaneously by using 3 different techniques, over time, what you'll notice is the ways in which the different techniques interact with each other. The way that when you're, for example, focused on concentration, a concentration practice, that's impacting your ability to feel good, or how when you're feeling wholesome, positive, joyous, happy, these kinds of states, that's actually impacting your ability to maintain open awareness, your awareness of your whole field of experience. So you begin to see more holistically the way that these different faculties of mind interact with each other, which in the long run gives a very, like I said, holistic view of meditation practice and what's actually taking place while we sit down and meditate. And then the third primary reason sequencing is a powerful method to follow. It just makes it makes sitting for 60 minutes easier. One of the biggest challenges that we face when we practice meditation, and particularly as we increase the time, is that we lose track of how long it's been. We have no clue, like, are we at minute 30? Are we at minute 40? Is my timer even working? It feels like it's definitely been an hour, but my timer hasn't gone off. There's all of this mental activity that's restless, that's anxious about having lost track with the time. And it's true that, we do have to work through that. We have to work through that restlessness, that anxiety, and learn how to see through it and let it go in order for the practice to progress. This method is all about learning how to meditate for an hour. So by removing that variable, because each 10 minutes we're able to have a sense of how much time has passed. So by removing this challenge of dealing with the anxiety of having lost track of time, we're just making meditating for an hour easier. And this is very important when we're starting out with doing something like for a whole hour. So let's get into the techniques. What techniques would I recommend? The first technique that I would recommend is a very simple breath awareness practice, following the sensations of breathing at the tip of your nose. This is a very classic meditation practice, and what we're doing with this technique is we are cultivating concentration. If you find that it's too difficult to cultivate concentration, that you're finding that there's a lot of restlessness in the mind, I would recommend either using a mantra or using counting meditation. And the way that the mantra would work is that on each inhalation, you would say your mantra. It can be any, syllable or word that you like. And then on each exhalation, you say the same syllable. For counting, on the other hand, when you inhale, that would be 1. Exhale, that would be 2. You do that all the way up to 10. And once you get to 10, you just start back over at 1. And if at any point you lose track of the time, you simply restart the counting. Again, you don't necessarily have to use, these mantras or the counting, but it's helpful to. And I would also recommend saying it in your mental talk. You don't need to say these syllables out loud, just say them in your mind as you're breathing. And the second technique that I would recommend is open awareness. So with this technique, all you're trying to do is just be aware of your sensory experience in all aspects as much as possible. And the last phrase there is the important point, as much as possible, because sometimes our awareness will be very contracted, very collapsed. That's fine. Sometimes our awareness will be extremely expansive, and that's fine too. It doesn't actually matter how expansive your awareness is. What matters is the intention to drop, focusing on any one thing in particular, and just allowing awareness to expand, to be aware of your field of experience as much as possible. And this is just training a different set of skills, a different faculty of mind that dovetails extremely nicely with a more concentrated attention training, cultivating practice like the breath awareness practice. And then the third technique is a gratitude practice, where all we are doing is expressing gratitude for different things that we appreciate. Again, all this needs to do is happen in your mental talk. There's no reason that you have to speak the gratitude out loud, but you can if that's helpful. Just very quietly whispering to yourself, that's totally fine. But it's, very simple. It can start very simple. I'm grateful for not being sick. I'm grateful for being out in the woods right now. I'm grateful for this warm jacket. And if that word feels too strong, you can just say, I appreciate. I appreciate being out in the woods. I appreciate the trees. I appreciate the little bugs crawling around. I appreciate that I'm sitting on a blanket. So the appreciation can be super simple. And what we're doing is we're just recognizing that there are many small things that we actually do, in fact, appreciate. There is an authentic appreciation for many different parts of our lives that are covered over by obscurations of mind, afflictions of mind. And all this practice is doing is just wiping away those afflictions and showing us just how much we appreciate, actually. And the nice thing about establishing this appreciation in the practice is that this appreciation leads into a baseline kind of happiness that then allows joy to more easily arise, not only during the practice of meditation, but in all of our life, just moving about our day. So this is the method. It's extremely powerful. I would highly recommend it if you're wanting to try to start meditating for a whole hour, but are feeling intimidated by just setting a timer and going for it. This method is extremely powerful. And even if you are good at doing that, are an advanced practitioner, you can still use this method to create a softer way of practice rather than just the like hardcore 60-minute timer approach. Like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would be happy to book a call or answer questions via email. And the last thing is thank you for your practice. And I will see you guys in the next video.